bastards! They'll get every last one of yous.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another video, and I'm finally reviewing Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time. I can't believe I'm actually doing this, but this video won't include any script at all, so I'm just literally just talking. Also, if you hear like a loud fan kind of noise, it's my PS4. It's just really loud right now. But let's jump right into the review because I don't want to waste your time. Is the game worth it? First of all, yeah, 100%. You should get it if you already don't have it. And I'm going to be going over all of the positives and the negatives with no spoilers involved. So there's no spoilers at all. You're not going to be seeing any spoilers, and all the gameplay, it's not really going to spoil you at all, because it's just random stuff that isn't really important to the story whatsoever. So let's jump right into the review. So the first thing I want to talk about is the gameplay, because in my opinion it's the most important thing, and the gameplay feels amazing. It definitely just feels like a good Crash game. The gameplay, Crash is moveset is the same, and it's actually, in my opinion, better than the Insane Trilogy and the original trilogy, because sometimes in those games, when you like belly flop, for an example, or double jump, it wouldn't actually do it sometimes if you like don't click it straight away, whereas in Crash 4 you can literally double jump whenever you want. If you're like falling off a place, you can jump and then it just automatically double jumps, so that you don't die because of the game's fault, which I actually think is really good. Double jump also slows you down, so that's pretty cool. It can be useful. But overall gameplays, in terms of level design and stuff like that, it's perfect. I could say it's perfect, but I'm not going to. But it's near perfect. It's that good, and I am a big Crash fan, so I am being a little bit biased, but I'm being honest. Like, the gameplay is just so good. It's just amazing how we're actually getting a sequel that's great. The level design is a bit more open in some areas, but it still is very linear, which is very good. So if you don't know what linear means, it's basically like, straight path. It's not like open world, basically. But in some of the areas, like, there's a little bit of like more openness to it. So like, for an example, in Snow Way Out, you can kind of travel around the areas in the ice block part, which is really fun. Another thing is the bonus levels are so much harder in this game now. I've actually found them very, very difficult at times, which they used to just be like irrelevant levels. They just used to be stuff that you did just to get the boxes for it. But now they're actually difficult, and there's a lot of like puzzles going into them. And I haven't beaten the flashback levels, or neither have I done the timelines or the inverted mode, but I mean, I'm reviewing the main game, so I can't spoil anything other than the main game. What I mean is I can't spoil inverted mode and stuff like that, so I'm not going to. But there is way more than the main story to do. And in total, there's 107 levels to play, if you consider everything. And there's also replayability to all 107 levels. So that's a lot. So the gameplay is just good. There's just nothing bad about it. There's even a little thing below your character, a little yellow shadow that indicates where you're landing on a platform or on a box, which is actually really useful and saved me a lot of times. You can turn it off in the settings if you want to, but I decided to leave it on. And I think that's all I'm going to say about the gameplay. I can't say anything else spoiling it. I would say the boss fights are just, they're a lot better. First of all, there's checkpoints now, so you don't have to like redo a whole like thing once you've like done something. But it's not on every boss fight, so it doesn't make it too easy. But it's definitely a lot more, like, the boss fights are more engaging and difficult, but at the same time they're a little bit more fun, if that makes sense. So they're more difficult, but that actually makes them more fun because of the checkpoints, so that you're actually actively progressing through the boss fight. That makes sense. I haven't really heard any people complain about the boss fights. They're better than the originals, in my opinion. It just feels like this game, in the gameplay section right now we're talking about, for the gameplay section at least, it just does everything that the original trilogy did well, and everything that it didn't do well, it fixes. So it's just so good, and there's so many gems to unlock as well. This is still a part of the gameplay section of the video. There's just so many gems to unlock. There's 228 normal gems, 228 inverted mode gems. Wow, that's over 600 gems. Wait, no, that's not. Like, that's 560 gems, 560 something gems. Sorry, my maths is just awful. It's not 600 gems, but almost 600, which is a lot, considering the original trilogy. Each game had like 20 to 40 gems. So that's really big. There's also dev times now, which is pretty cool. There's just so many things to do. There's insanely perfect relics, and just the gameplay is just so good. And you like progress through like these dimensional maps, which is just so much fun. There's like new abilities that you can perform. There's rope swinging now. There's wall running, and what's the last one? Zip lining, which is one of my favorite things to do. A lot of people don't like it because when you're trying to get the crates, but I think it's actually pretty fun because it's like a trial and error. So a lot of people don't like it, but I personally like it. And you know, on your first playthrough, you might as well not have to go for the boxes. Just play the game and enjoy it, and then go for 100% completion when you need to. And you can actually get 106% completion, which is pretty cool. There's a lot of hidden boxes, as you can see, like right there. Obviously, like what you saw off the gameplay, there's a lot of hidden boxes, and there's even more on the gameplay. There's now these like 4 masks. There's 4 masks. These were all revealed already, so I'm not spoiling anything or anything. But there's 4 masks. I'm not going to tell you what they do, but as you can see, one of them is freezing time right now, and you unlock them at certain points during the thing, and they all link up with the storyline so perfectly. But the storyline is a separate thing, so I'm not going to include that here. So one of them, you can freeze time. One of them, like, you can change objects and boxes in and out of existence, which makes for some really challenging and fun platforming. There's even more. There's the other 3 masks. One of them, you can flip gravity from being pulled to the roof or being pulled on the bottom, which changes up so much gameplay. There's even one that lets you kind of like infinite spin and gain extra height and break clogged crates. And they don't. What I'm trying to say is they don't change the gameplay too much to the point where it's not Crash anymore, but they change it enough so that it's a big change. What I'm trying to say is that they don't stray away from the tense platforming that Crash Bandicoot has always been. It's still the same platforming. It's just they added this new stuff, if that makes sense. If you're worried about it affecting the game too much, as in like you're using these masks all the time, that's not the case, don't worry. Yeah, that's about it. That's all the masks that there are. So there's the Kabunawa, Aniloli, Akano, and the I don't remember his name. I don't remember his name because they never said it in the game, but it's the one that flips gravity. Then for vehicle levels, if you're worried about that, there's not many vehicle levels, and the vehicle levels that exist are really fun. Like there's a rolling ball one. There's like riding polar, riding like a dinosaur. It's just so fun, and the controls are pretty good as well. There's the jetpod levels, which are really fun, and the thing is about these levels is that they don't take up the whole level, only a portion of it. So most of the level is still platforming, and then you have the little bits with vehicles in it, and they're really refined as well. So it's good because in my opinion, Warped had too many vehicles, which made the games kind of stale sometimes, kind of boring, and just annoying at times. That's the only thing I hate about Warped. As you can see right here, Polar is back. Oh my, this is amazing, and we're chasing down Neo Cortex, which kind of reminds me of Twinsanity, but I guess it's not really. Yeah, it's similar, but not really. And yeah, there's just so much in gameplay. There's also so much hidden stuff, like there's hidden gems, boxes, so many things, because these levels are a little bit bigger. They still feel like Crash though. And then last thing I'm going to add about the gameplay is there's now you can play as Torna, Dingodile, and Cortex, but not in every level. And I'm not going to explain how it works because I don't want to spoil anything, but in certain levels you get to play as as Torna, Dingodile, and Cortex. I'm not going to explain why because it will ruin the game for you. And I'm not going to explain when either, but you do get to do it at some point. And it's only one level, but for each character, but then you unlock certain timelines for existing levels that you've already completed with Crash or Coco, which Crash or Coco, they perform the same movements, they just look different. So you play those levels with the interference of the characters that jump into Crash and Coco's dimension. It's confusing, but I think you'll get it maybe. Yeah, I think that's about it. That's all I want to really talk about on the gameplay side. The gameplay is near perfect in my opinion. What is the? I don't really find a negative, but since it can't be perfect, so I'm gonna give it 9.5 out of 10 for the gameplay, not the whole game, the gameplay. Now let's talk about the music because I want to get this out of the way. It's a negative. Let me just get it out of the way real quick. The main theme is actually really good, really good. You can hear it in the background if you listen. It's just a really good theme, but the problem is the actual levels. The music it's not that it's bad, but it's not really it's kind of forgettable basically. Like you kind of forget the music. Like there's not the only music that really sticks in my head is Snow Way Out's music and Ship Happens. Those are the only two, and they've got the same music, so yeah, because they're both snow levels. But this time, not every the music is more varied, but it's a little bit different styled, which it makes it a little bit more forgettable. But the main theme is great. And the reason why I don't think the music is so great is because they're mainly just remixes of the original trilogy, which makes it lack originality. Because I want some themes from Crash 4. I get it, that's nostalgia, it should be nostalgia music, but come on, you gotta add some originality to the game, or some original music as well, not just remixes of the original trilogy, my opinion. But if you like the music, then that's good. It's just, and it doesn't really affect the game too much, to be honest. Now let's move on to the storyline. There's so much more in the storyline. I can't spoil more about the storyline because, well, then I'd be ruining the game at this point. But there's so much more story to Crash, and it's crazy to see. It just almost feels like I'm watching a cartoon at certain moments. Just the expressions of the characters and just it really is amazing how much immersion there is into the story. The cutscenes are they're so entertaining to watch and just so funny sometimes. They're funny, but they're not too funny like Twinsanity. They're actually they're serious, but they got these little funny moments which I just absolutely love. There's so much expressions and it mixes in with the game so much. As you're going through the game, the cutscenes are with the game, if that makes sense. Are following the game, the events that you just completed in the game, which is actually something new in the Crash game. You get a story throughout the game. You don't just get a beginning, Cortex, and come boss by him. It's a little bit more. It's a little bit more than that. A lot more than that. You'll see when you play the game. It's really interesting, actually. But yeah, that's all I'm going to talk about, really. Overall, you should buy this game. Been talking for a long time. The gameplay is out now, but you should buy this game. Overall, I rate this game a solid 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10. Yep, I'm going to rate it a 9 out of 10 because, yeah, 9 out of 10. I can't rate it 10 out of 10 because of music and some things that I don't like. But apart from that, there's nothing else. And those are not good enough reasons to not buy this game. The only reason you wouldn't buy it is if you don't like platformers, I guess. There's just so much to do. There's so much content, so much good gameplay, so much good storyline. There is no, like, there's no reason you shouldn't buy this game. So that's all I'm gonna say. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you later.